Would you like to know the top 5 things not to do when you're anxious? If so, stay tuned. Hello, my name is Douglas Bloch. I'm an author and depression survivor. Welcome to your Depression Recovery channel, where each week we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. The title of today's video is 5 Things Not to Do When You're Anxious. And before we start, of course, we have to have some humor, because humor helps with depression. And what is today's joke? Oh yeah, I got a birthday gift a couple of months ago from a 5-year-old, and it's called The Kid's Joke Book. And I wish I had it here to show you. I'll bring it next time, but here's one of the jokes from that book, and that is, what does a rain cloud wear under his clothes? Thunderwear. All right, so I like that. Anyway, I made a video a while ago called The Top 5 Things Not to Do When You're Depressed. It's generated a really, really huge response. Of course, I made that video when I was depressed myself, but I guess I should have taken my own advice. But anyway, because anxiety occurs so often with depression, they're co-occurring 80% of the times, a number of my fans have said, hey, let's make a video about what not to do when you're anxious. So I thought I'd give it a try. Okay, well, here's number 1. Don't self-medicate using recreational drugs. Now, when a person is anxious or depressed, they'll do almost anything to improve their mood, and one obvious way is to take mood-altering drugs. And these usually fall into one of 2 classes, stimulants or uppers, or depressants or downers. And as you might expect, people with anxiety seek downers. Now, there are 2 major drugs that my clients tell me they use. One is alcohol, and the second is marijuana. So let's talk about alcohol first. Well, you know that alcohol hits the GABA receptors in the brain, which cause relaxation. And so, a glass of wine every now and then is not a bad thing. But when you overuse, of course, we all know, you can get in trouble. 2 examples. One of my clients started to drink to try to get to bed. Of course, it doesn't really help. Eventually, it interferes with your sleep. But anyway, he got a DUI. Made him more anxious, right? Another person had been clean and sober for 20 years. And he drank, he was desperate, I suppose, and he relapsed. As for marijuana, many of my clients tell me they use it to relax and also to treat their insomnia. Marijuana makes my mind spin out of control, but some people it puts them to sleep. Seems harmless, but there's a couple of dangers, especially in the marijuana these days. One is that it can induce something called depersonalization or derealization, which is a feeling of being disconnected from your body, looking at yourself from the outside as if you're in a dream. It can be very unsettling. And in fact, 2 young people in my Monday group had this happen not too long ago. Then there's the other side of the coin. When some people take marijuana, it actually makes them paranoid and even more anxious. So, there is definitely danger in taking this medication, although for most people, it may be okay. Even when self-medication works in the short term, it may not do so in the long term. Because over time, it takes more and more of these drugs to get the same effect. This is called tolerance, and it explains why many addicts say that what they do their whole lives is trying to chase and recreate that first high they received. Rule number 2, don't worry alone. The problem with spending too much time alone when you're anxious is it's very easy to get trapped inside your own head. You start to ruminate, and then you get engulfed with a story you're telling yourself that's probably not even true. I think that's why a friend of mine once said that your mind is a dangerous place. Like a bad neighborhood, you don't want to go there alone. Now, when other people enter the picture, you can reality test your worry. I mean, so many of our worries and problems are the result of an overactive imagination. Now, if you have an objective person who you can talk to and bounce things off of, that person can let you know whether your concerns are real or if really they're exaggerated. Finally, you can often find the solution to a problem when you talk it out with another person. Putting the problem in words and letting someone else hear it takes it out of the realm of imagination and makes it concrete. This is why I love this saying, a worry shared is a worry halved. Okay, here's rule number 3 of what not to do when you get anxious, and that is don't spend too much time in the future, or as we call it, futurizing. Now, why is this so? Well, first of all, in my popular video, How to Rewire Your Anxious Brain, I talk about that human beings are unique among animals because we have a neocortex right up here that allows us to imagine things that have not yet come. Now, the danger here is when people are anxious, they often imagine the worst. So I created a little a process called Back to the Present, which I used when I was suicidal. It actually saved my life, and I want to share with you here. It helps with any kind of a worry. Okay, so here's how this process works. When you notice that you're in the future and you're starting to catastrophize, first notice what is happening and become aware that your mind is dwelling on thoughts of catastrophe, like I'll never get better, I'm never going to get out of this depression. Number two, realize actually that because these thoughts are about the future, they can't really harm you. You're actually in the here and now. None of this has actually occurred yet. So you're basically spending energy on something that's not even real. And number three, and this is important, refocus your attention on the present moment. Breathe, or go ahead and call a friend, or do some dishes that you haven't done, or open the mail, or walk around the block, anything that grounds you in the here and now. And this will kind of take you out of the hypnotic spell where you're in the future, which isn't even real in the first place, and bring you back right here into your body and into the present. Before we get to rule number 4, I just wanted to mention that exercise I just read called Back to the Present is from page 71 of my book, Healing from Depression, which you can find in local bookstores or get from Amazon.com. Okay, now on to the fourth thing you should not do when you're anxious, and that is avoid overexposure to the media through either reading the papers or following news online. Now, why is this? A spiritual teacher of mine named Barbara Marx Hubbard once made a point that I never forgot. She said, "The media is like a faulty nervous system. It transmits only the pain, but not the pleasure." It probably does this because bad news sells. But for the anxious person, that bad news means more anxiety. For example, if you're reading about the potential conflict or war between the United States and North Korea, it's going to freak you out. And this is why Dr. Andrew Weil, a well-respected doctor who wrote a book called 8 Weeks to Optimal Health, says that one of the things you should do to achieve good health is to take periodic news fasts. In other words, don't watch the... As a matter of fact, I just have to realize something. We just had a gal come into my depression support group 3 days ago who said she was there because she couldn't stop, reading the papers and going onto Google News and reading about the catastrophic stuff. And it was just driving her nuts. It was like a compulsion that she couldn't stop. And it was really impacting her mental health for the worse. So again, avoid overexposure to the media. So here's my fifth and final rule about what not to do if you're anxious, and that is don't overthink your symptoms or research them on the internet. For example, let's say you're afraid of taking medications, as many people are, and you say, I wonder what the side effects of this drug are, and then you go on the internet. Oh my God, you're going to see dozens and dozens of side effects that will probably freak you out and make you less likely to take the medication. Now, when you see a side effect of a drug, it simply means that during the clinical trials which are needed for the drug to get approved, someone mentioned that side effect, maybe just one person. And that could have just been induced by their anxiety and not the drug itself. Researching on the internet can be especially problematic for those people who have what's called health anxiety. Now, when I was growing up, this was called hypochondria. Maybe some of you may remember that term. And it simply means that people imagine themselves of having various illness, but there's no real physical proof. Now enter the internet. You can go on the internet and research your symptoms till the cows come home, and it takes you down a rabbit hole of fear and self-diagnosis. For example, one of my clients was absolutely convinced that he had bipolar disorder because he couldn't sleep for 3 or 4 nights. Of course, this is also a symptom of depression, but he was absolutely convinced. He went on the internet, spent days and days driving himself crazy. This is what we mean when we say that a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. The key to overcoming this is to go to your psychiatrist or a prescriber or mental health professional and get a proper diagnosis, one that is not distorted by your anxiety and your fear. In summary, here are the top 5 things not to do when you're feeling anxious. Number 1, don't self-medicate using recreational drugs. Number 2, don't worry alone. Number 3, don't spend too much time in the future. Number 4, avoid overexposure to the media. And number 5, don't overthink your symptoms and research them on the internet. If you go ahead and practice these 5 things not to do, or avoid them, you'll notice a greater reduction in your symptoms of anxiety and a greater sense of calm and well-being. This has been Douglas Bloch. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something from it. I hope after seeing it, you're not as anxious as you were before. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like or leave your comments in the comments section, or you can email me, douglasbloch@gmail.com. If you want to become one of our subscribers, click on my photo during the end screens and you'll be taken to the subscribe page where you can click on the subscribe button. And if you want to become a sustaining member of this channel and help support us so we can make more and more videos, click on the Patreon image and you'll be taken to my Patreon website. And until we meet again, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. Thank you so much for watching.